Good morning, good morning. Coffee Cup Chronicle, day 95, Mississippi. M.I. Kookaberry, Kookaberry I, Kookaberry, Kookaberry, Humpback I. That's how I learned how to spell Mississippi. Mom had her ways. That was one of them. Hey, the first time I ever went to Mississippi, wow, 1972. Dan and I, Mom and Dad, jumped in an old station wagon, headed out of Buffalo, drove down to Biloxi, Mississippi. We stayed on the coast on Old Highway 90, right across from the ocean. This was after Camille. You got to go way back to hear about that one. And before Katrina devastated the coast. I still remember driving down 90 and we saw this, I don't know, it was 100 feet, couple 100 feet long ship that was leaning on its side, had been blown out of the Gulf of Mexico and on the north side of Highway 90, almost a quarter mile in. You could see it as you drove down 90. And they never removed it. That was after Camille hit. I've been down there since a couple times. I went down there after Katrina. Folks, the pictures do not do justice to all of the lower Mississippi from Katrina. And the lower 9th Ward or whatever it was in Louisiana, in New Orleans. Dan told me about it, my brother Dan. But in 68, Mom and Dad, Dan and I, jumped in the car. We drove down to Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Air Force Base to see my brother graduate from training down there. I still remember we were sitting at a little log cabin restaurant right on Highway 90, about 3 blocks up from the hotel we were staying at. Second time we ever stayed in a hotel. First time was Motel 6 on the way down. $6.95 to start and $1 for each additional person. 1972. I have a little cow's head over here, a plastic cow's head, that Mom bought this little creamer from this place called the Cow Palace. That's where we had to eat. Yeah, still remember. So we drove down and we went to dinner one night at this little log cabin restaurant, and I ordered, I asked, could I have the trout? I wanted to try trout. Yeah, they have trout. Well, they brought it out with head on and put it in front of me. And my mom went, oh. She said, Donnie, turn that plate around. I don't want to. She reached over and turned my plate around so the head was facing the other way. She didn't have to see the eyes staring at her. It was so funny. I kept turning it back. Turned it back. Mom turned, Donnie. Then about 13 years ago, I went down to Goshen, Mississippi to watch Bo, Brother Daniel's puppy dog. One of the best behaved dogs I've ever seen in my life. Next to my daughter's dog, Jennifer, their dog named Charlie. Bo was a super, super dog. So anyway, the reason for the Mississippi Cup this morning, so that was 13 years ago. I went down and watched Bo for 2 weeks. Why? My brother took a 2-week vacation. Now, yesterday, and I can't remember what's the date, 23rd? I always forget this every year, and I apologize. 11 years ago, yesterday, the 23rd, let's say, I went down to Goshen, Mississippi, again, for a wedding. My brother Daniel married a little gal named Florine. Her name is Rain, little Filipino gal. Best little wedding I've been. We have that wedding Dan and Rain rented a house over in Dolphin Island, Alabama. I don't know, it was 40 miles from Goshen or something. So we drove down and we went to the wedding. They had the wedding seaside, Gulf side. And beautiful setting. Uncle Jack was there. It was just a great time. So anyway, congratulations. Happy anniversary, YouTube. 11 years. Wow. Daniel, wow. Thank you, Rain. Y'all figure that one out, okay? Anyway, I'll tell you the other part of that is, it was funny. So we're down there, and I see something posted on Facebook from my buddy, Big Deal. Charles Deal. I met him in Clinton, North Carolina, when I was working for Marriott at Sampson Regional Medical Center. He was a chef working for U.S. Foods, and met him at a food show. Was friends with him. Now this is, I don't recall, this is like 10 years, 11 years later or whatever. And I see this posting that he's down in Mississippi at a, I don't remember what it was, some fraternal organization he was at. So I got a messenger with him real quick. And I said, Charles, where are you at? He texted me back. He said, Dolphin Island, Alabama. And I went, no way. I texted back. I said, there's no way you're on Dolphin Island. Where at? And he said, Dolphin Island. I said, where? He said, the eastern end of Dolphin Island. I said, not funny. I'm on the western end. We got to go have coffee. Well, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I said, well, come on down. I said, come on down. I said, we're, my younger brother Daniel got married down here, and we're down here at this house, and this is the address. Come on down when you're done. No, I don't want to crash the wedding. Well, he came down. We stood out in the driveway and talked for about 10 minutes. So what's the moral of all that, right? Folks, you never know about your friends, people you've met, where you're going to run into them. Across the country, different places. I mean, I got to tell you, it'll happen to you. It will. Goshen, Mississippi. Didn't get to spend as much time in Mississippi as I would have liked to, but I've been there. Great state. Love fishing the Gulf of Mexico. Had towed a little 16-foot tri-haul down there, and while Dan was gone for 2 weeks, and fished every chance I got. Hey, I got to tell you a quick story. So talking about meeting Charles, Big Deal, at Dolphin Island. I was working in Spokane, Washington in, gosh, that had to be, 86 or 87. I was working at Off-Broadway Cafe and Deli. And I've been there about 6 months. We had a new gal start. She was working, and she'd been there about 4 or 5 days, and about time to get off for all of our shifts. And she was kind of not happy. Her car broke down or something, and I offered her a ride. And I said, where do you live? And she said, out in the valley, which was east, and I lived out west. So we jumped in my truck, and we took off down I-90. I-90 runs from the other side of New York State all the way to Seattle. So anyway, we're going down I-90, and I'm in the middle lane, and I'm driving down the road with her. And we get to talking, and she find out she's the same age as I am. And I go, where are you from? And she said, well, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I said, Kenosha? I said, you mean Kenosha, Wisconsin, Waukegan, Illinois? She said, yeah, have you been there? I said, yeah, actually, I dated a gal in the late 70s when I was in the Air Force. She was from Kenosha, Wisconsin. And true story, folks. This is like 15 years later, right? So I said, she asked me who, we're talking, and I said, yeah, her name was Molly Gill. The girl looks at me, she says, oh, Molly, she said, I dated her brother Donnie. Folks, let me tell you what, I hit the freaking brake and ended up on the side of I-90. I go, you gotta be kidding me. I thought she was pulling my leg. She wasn't. True story. Then there's been some other recalls like that. I ran into my old boss in the Chicago airport. And then about 4 years ago now, I was working at ECMC. I had just started. I was hired out of South Carolina on the phone with my resume. So I show up and work the first day, and they take me upstairs and introduce me to Ken Sykes. And I sit down and we're chatting a little bit and trying to get to know each other, and he's working on some papers or something. And I said, Sykes. I said, do you know anybody in Oklahoma? And he said, no. He says, but I've been there. I said, oh. I said, well, I know a gal named Kathy Sykes. She's married now. I said, but maiden name was Sykes, S-I-K-E-S. He said, well, my name is S-Y-K-E-S. I said, so what were you doing in Oklahoma? He said, I was in the Air Force. Well, folks, there's only 2 Air Force bases, Tinker and Altus. I said, oh. I said, where at? He said, Altus. I go, no. I said, I was at Altus. I said, what'd you do? He said, I was a cook in the Air Force. I said, what? At Altus? I said, you're kidding. He said, no. I said, well, when were you there? He said, 1981. I left in 79. Just unbelievable. And I thought he was pulling my leg. I thought he read my resume. And I said, no, get out of here. I said, who did you know down there? And he couldn't remember names. I said, how about Ralph Ginn? He said, oh, Ralph. He said, that old fat sucker with a mustache, and he had his cigarette. He'd walk out to his car on break and come back, and he was smoking a cigarette all the time because he was drinking. I said, oh, my God. Nobody would have known Ralph except, Ralph Ginn except us. Close. You'll meet people now that you'll meet years later. So, anyway, enough rambling. This is the longest one I've done yet, and I don't want to redo it. 12 minutes. Oh, yeah. I always leave the stickers on the cups. Hey, y'all have a great day. Moon's out full. It's called a pink moon. I got to get up and go take pictures. I'll talk to y'all later.